Debrah Miceli, better known by her ring name Madusa, was born February 9, 1964, in Milan, Italy. Welcome to Wrestling Through the Ages. Left by her parents at birth, she would go through several foster homes and eventually find her way to Minneapolis, Minnesota. She would join both track and gymnastics while working at an Arby's at the age of 14. 1984 saw Debrah trained by both Eddie Sharkey and Brad Rheingans. Later that year, she joined the independent wrestling circuit. In 1986, she joined the AWA, the American Wrestling Association, as Madusa Miceli, starting a feud with veteran wrestler Sherry Martel. She would lose to Martel on May 2nd of 1987 at Superclash 2, and again at the AWA Green Bay show on June 19th of 1987. With Martel's departure from the AWA, Madusa would take over as a manager for Mr. Magnificent Kevin Kelly. On December 27 of 1987, Madusa defeated the Goddess Candy Divine for the AWA Women's Championship and successfully defended the title against the likes of Cindy Partlow, Heidi Lee Morgan, Susan Sexton, and Magnificent Mimi. She would also manage the current AWA champion, Curt Hennig. October 15, 1988, Madusa loses a championship match against Japanese star and current AJW champion, Shigusa Nagayo. November 26 would see Madusa drop the belt to Wendy Richter. The following month, Madusa joins the Diamond Exchange stable alongside Curt Hennig, DDP, Pat Tanaka, and Paul Diamond. She would lose to Derek Dukes, Ricky Rice, and Wendy Richter at the AWA Superclash 3 pay-per-view on December 13. That same year, she got nominated as Rookie of the Year in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. She would make her final AWA appearance on June 25th at the Jersey City show, pinning Heidi Lee Morgan. She would then receive an important phone call from the land of the rising sun. Madusa would go on to wrestle a series of matches against the IWA champion Shigusa Nagayo, exchanging the title back and forth. In 1989, Madusa got invited to All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling, where she polished off her skills even further by learning from the best dominant purists, the Joshi Puroresu. She wrestled on a 6-week tour and had a pay-per-view main event championship match against Lioness Asuka at June 5th's WrestleMarine Pied 1. Nick Bockwinkel served as a special referee. She would lose this match but gain respect from both fans and her opponents. As the year progressed, her wrestling abilities sharpened. She teamed up with Mitsuko Nishiwaki during AJW's Tag League The Best 89, winning the AJW Tag Team Championship, defeating Manami Toyota and Toshio Yamada. All Japan's Women's Pro Wrestling would offer Debrah a deal she could not pass up. She would sign with AJW, making her the very first female gaijin talent added to the current roster. December 1st would see Madusa be included in the main event at All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling Tokyo Show, teaming up with Aja Kong and Bison Kimura, defeating the team of Toyota, Takashi, and Minami in a 2 out of 3 falls in a 6-person tag match. She would wrestle at that year's Japan Grand Prix one-night tournament, Survival Shout in Kurikan, WrestleMarine Pied 2, and do a special appearance at UWF's Super Estrella during day number 4 with teammates Kyaru Maeda, and Maika Takahashi, defeating Aja Kong, Bison Kimura, and Grizzly Iwamoto. Madusa would return stateside in mid-91, starting a short-lived feud with then-husband Hotshot Eddie Gilbert, taking on the team of Luna Vachon and Cactus Jack in the TWA promotion. She would be contacted shortly after by Ted Turner's World Championship Wrestling. She joined the WCW main roster, playing the role of a manager for the Dangerous Alliance, alongside Paul E. Dangerously, but mostly serving as Ravishing Rick Rude's valet. She would be fired from the group on October 25th of 1992. Halloween match would end in a time-limit draw with no winner. Not happy with the way she was being utilized and not being able to showcase her true potential within WCW, she had her last match with what you want to call it, a match, losing to Missy Hyatt in a bikini contest at that year's Beach Blast 1992. She would wrestle against the Princess of Darkness, Luna Vachon, in a couple of indie wrestling events during 1993 before getting a call from WWF and making her in-ring debut under the new moniker Allundra Blayze, and won a 6-woman tournament, defeating Heidi Lee Morgan in the finals for the WWF's women title on WWF All-American Wrestling taping. The beginning of 94 saw her wrestle and defend the WWF Women's Championship against the likes of Bull Nakano, Luna Vachon, Kyoko Inoue, Saki Hasegawa, and Leilani Kai. She was featured in the March 20th WWF Women's Championship. On November 20, 1994, she wrestled for the multi-promotion Big Egg Wrestling universe against former rival Bull Nakano, losing the WWF Women's Championship. She had a great match at SummerSlam 94 against Bull Nakano on August 29, defeating her to retain the women's title. Enter 1995. Allundra successfully pins Bull Nakano in Madison Square Garden to become a now 2-time WWF Women's Champion. Following the match, she would break her nose in a kayfabe spot with newcomer Bertha Faye. In actuality, WWF has asked Debrah to take time off TV. She would lose to Bertha Faye August 27, 1995, at that year's SummerSlam. She regained the championship on October 23rd at that Monday night's Raw, becoming a now 3-time WWF champion. She would take part in an 8-woman tag match at that year's 1995 Survivor Series, and then lose a tag match the following night on Raw against Aja Kong, Tomoko Watanabe. Unhappy with the direction WWF was pushing her towards, which is nowhere, she would return to WCW with a women's championship belt. Former executive vice president Eric Bischoff has asked Debrah to bring the title over, and on December 18, 1995, history was made. In short, Madusa would hold a garbage can in one hand and the WWF's Women's Championship in the other. She cut a promo about how awful the current state of women's pro wrestling is in the North American market and proceed to dump it in the trash, unknowingly firing off the very first shot of the Monday Night Wars. So what happened to Madusa in WCW? What happened to the young hopeful that grinded her teeth in Japan among the toughest women of the sport of wrestling? Well, in 1996, she was put in a short-lived feud against former rival Sherry Martel, at that time known as Sister Sherry, which fizzled out fast. She lost to Colonel Robert Parker on May 2nd at that year's uncensored pay-per-view. She defeated Debbie Combs, Malaya Hosaka, started another rivalry against Bull Nakano, and lost a women's WCW championship match against Akira Hokuto at December 96 Starrcade. 1997 saw Madusa lose to Akira in 2 championship matches, one at Spring Stampede and the other at WCW Great American Bash, losing in a title versus career match. Madusa would take a 2-year hiatus from the company after June 15's American Bash. Madusa would return in April of '99, teaming up with Macho Man Randy Savage's Team Madness, alongside fellow valets Gorgeous George and Miss Madness. Once that storyline fizzled out, she would manage Evan Courageous until she found him flirting with Spice of the Nitro Girls. She would then defeat Evan, being the first and only female winning the Cruiserweight Championship. She would eventually lose the Cruiserweight Championship to Oklahoma, who in actuality is WWF's former writer Ed Ferrara, portraying a terrible version of Jim Ross. Near the end of her WCW career, she would wrestle Sherry Martel one last time before being put in a short storyline with Tori Wilson, Kidman, and Shane Douglas, with her final appearance being a scaffold match on September 17th, Fall Brawl. The WWF would buy WCW on March 26, 2000, and Madusa would ride her contract out, getting paid more than risking being rehired by McMahon. Madusa Miceli was North America's finest female wrestler at a time when it was insanely difficult to get over in this part of the world. Women did not get an easy break during this time. Only the best got a shot, and only the greatest got multiple titles. Debrah Miceli deserves way more credit for what she did alive in North America in the 1990s when wrestling was dead for all of the other girls. She was appointed the commissioner of Japan's World Wonder Ring Stardom on September 2015. Madusa was finally inducted into WWF's Hall of Fame on March 2nd, 2015, with a true show of class, brought with her the original WWF's Women's Championship belt, and stated, "The title is finally back home." Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday for another episode of Wrestling Through the Ages.